Hey kids, me again. This is a video about fitting quadratic functions to data. And once again, my kids are playing in the backyard, so we'll see if they don't interrupt us. Oh look, as I said that, my oldest is climbing on the top of the swing set and about to get the boat hooked. Okay, now before I start, you don't have to write all this down. Just read it and summarize it however best you want to. Now we all know what a scatter plot is. A scatter plot is a graph, and you got a bunch of plots, and maybe all those dots follow a linear pattern. Or maybe they follow a parabolic pattern. Maybe they're almost parabolic. So we can take these plots, these points, and one thing we could do is sketch a parabola that we think best fits through there, and then choose a couple of representative points and find the equation like we did in the last lesson. But what we're going to do today is learn how to do this with our calculator. Now these next steps are something that you do want to write down. It doesn't have to be word for word. Summarize it how you need to. But when you have your graphing calculator, first you're going to press Stat, and then you're going to choose Edit. And if you don't know where those buttons are, then ask me tomorrow and I'll show you. But then you're going to have, it's going to show you it lists L1, L2, L3, and in L1 you're going to put all the X values, and in list 2 you're going to put all the Y values. Now to view the scatter plot, you're going to press second and then stat plot. That's up there by the Y equals, and you're going to turn it on so that you can see it. And you can view it in the graph by pressing zoom 9. It'll zoom on the data that you've entered in. And then one thing is make sure you turn it off when you're finished, because if you leave the stat plot turned on, then your other graphs, if you're trying to graph something regular, it's not going to work. Now, once you've put your data in, if you want to find the best fit equation, you press Stat and then choose Calc. And then it gives you a whole bunch of options for regression models, and that's finding the equation for what we have. So if it looks like it's parabolic, choose Quadratic. If it looks like it's linear, you would choose LinReg. It depends on your calculator, but sometimes you have to hit enter multiple times. Don't worry about that. But when you do it, it will give you the equation that you want. So here is an example problem. A town is holding its annual music festival 6 months from now. Based on last year's ticket sales and survey results of how many tickets could be sold at different prices, a study group presents the table shown. The variable C represents the cost of a ticket, and P will represent the profit in thousands of dollars that the town should make at that ticket price. So if the tickets cost $25, then they make about $2,000. If they make the ticket cost $30, then they make about $17,000 because they're making more money. And so on and so on. And you can kind of tell that if they're cheap, they're not going to make very much money, probably because the tickets are so cheap. But as they get more expensive, they make more money. But if they make them too expensive, then people aren't going to buy them and they make less money. So it becomes parabolic. We're going to do this one by hand. Plot a graph of the data to estimate the type of function we're dealing with. And like I just said, it goes up and then it comes down. It appears quadratic. So we're going to estimate the vertex. And this point right here looks like it's at the top of it, 45, 34. So we'll use that, and then you pick any other point. So we'll go with this one, 25, 2, and we're going to approximate a model by hand. And we're just going to do the same steps that we did in yesterday. So we'll take the vertex form, plug in x, y, h, and k, and then solve for a. And here we get negative 0.08 for a. So we can write our equation. P equals negative 0.08 times x minus 45 squared plus 34. And if we multiply that out for standard form, you're just going to FOIL the x minus 45, and then you'll multiply that all by negative 0.08, and then add 34, and you get this. Alright, so that's a pretty good representative of our parabola. Now let's use our technology. So following the steps that we just talked about, we're going to put all the X's, all the ticket costs here in list 1, and we're going to put all the profits, the Y's, in list 2. And then we're going to hit Stat, Calc, Quad Reg, and we're going to get this equation right here. So if you're practicing this at home, I would punch the buttons and see if you can't get this same equation as I got. And so that way we make sure that you know all the buttons you push, because I'm not going to tell you how to do it when it becomes test time. And you have one of these problems on your test. And you say, what buttons do I push again? And I'm going to say, you should know that, sorry. Alright, now compare the two models, which is more accurate. Well, obviously, your calculator is going to be more accurate than just sketching a parabola by hand and guessing. What do the x-intercepts of the model represent? So if our model looked something like this, our x-intercepts would be here and here. And what does that mean? Think about what your axes mean whenever you're trying to figure out what the x-intercepts mean. X is your ticket cost and Y is your profit. So on the x-axis, your profit is 0. So that means the x-intercepts are going to be the ticket prices where you won't make any money. Sales for the festival will not be profitable. If you don't charge anything, you won't make anything. And if you charge way too much, nobody's going to buy anything. Alright, now what ticket cost should the town choose to maximize profit? So if profit is our y-axis, the maximum is the top of it. So in your calculator, you can hit second calc maximum, and you can actually figure out that point at the very top of the parabola. And that point is going to be 32, well, for x you'll get 43, and for y you'll get 32. And remember that our y is in thousands, so if you charge $43 per ticket, you should make about $32,000 in profit. And that's really all I have for you. Tomorrow we'll be doing some word problems in class, obviously, and most of them fit this format. It might not give you a table, but if you read the problem, it will give you some x values and some y values that you could put into a table, and then you find your equation. And then there'll also be another kind of problem where you have to use your brain a little bit, but I don't want to do any of those in the video. I want us to actually work through those tomorrow. So I know you're excited, can't wait, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.